Hey, welcome back to this fun little project. My name is Mike, and you are at Audacity Training. We're right in the middle of this little fake podcast project that I thought might be fun to do. And let's take it to the next step here as we continue to go through here. Look at the screen that I've got, and you'll see it's right where I left it before. We have some audio at the top. We have the intro audio where we've already auto-ducked the audio or the music out, so that we can hear the speaker more clearly. Speaker level is a little bit low. We're going to take care of that in this video. And then we did the outro down there at the other end. And we did the same thing. We auto-ducked it. We faded in the music, and then we did the auto-duck during the speaking. And then we brought the music level back up. And then we faded it out for good for the end of the podcast. So what we have to do now is in this middle section, this section right here. And so we need to do a little bit of cleanup on it before we do a lot with it. I've got it soloed right now. And, well, I did have it soloed. I accidentally clicked it again. Let's put the cursor right here at the beginning. And let's zoom in here just a little bit so that we can actually see what we're doing here with our cursor. And I'm going to press play, and let's listen to this. All right, so now I'm just going to talk a second. That's where I'm going to cut off the intro, is right there. And now let's do a little bit of verbiage. Hey, welcome to the... Okay, so the actual podcast starts about here. I'm going to trim this audio. Remember, we put the cursor there at the end. And I mean, we can move this either way. This is non-destructive editing, so the audio that we've already isolated or thought that we got rid of is still there, which is really good to know. But we're going to bring this back to right about here somewhere, which is the actual beginning. I'm going to put the cursor there and press the space bar again. Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad you're here. So that's where we want to be. I'm going to grab this piece of audio and I'm going to bring it over here. And let's scroll back over so that we can figure out a good spot to fade our music out again. I'm going to I'm going to put the cursor right here during the speaking time, the part that we've already done. And I just want to get a feel for the timing. I want to know where to put in to fade out the music again and to put in the actual podcast. So I'm going to press spacebar to just get a feel for this right after I unsolo that bottom track. Podcast about nothing, and I'm glad you're here. Okay, so I like right about there, I think is where we should start fading out again. So I'm going to put the cursor there. I'm going to kind of just come down through here. It's arbitrary at this point as far as what I'm going to do. But let's take it right about to there, and let's come back up to the effect, and let's go into fading once again, and let's do a fade out. So we're going to fade out our podcast right there. And so let's see how that sounds fading out there. That sounds pretty good. Now, what I'm going to do now is we want to get rid of this part here. So I'm going to put the cursor right there, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer to get a little bit better resolution. And let's put our cursor right about here, and I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to split that clip. Now let's come back up, and let's fit the entire project in the width of our screen. And then let's take this piece right here that I just split. You can see I can move it around anywhere I want to move it. And we need to delete this piece of audio, but before we do that, let's go up into Preferences. Again, I'm on a Mac, so my preference window is under the Audacity drop-down menu. I believe it's under the Edit menu if you're in Windows. But either way, get to the Preferences menu, and then let's look at our tracks preferences. If we come down to Tracks Behavior, you can see that I've got checkmarked editing a clip can move other clips. That means that if I delete that audio right there, it's going to move that ducked audio that's further down the pike. And I don't want to do that because it's already lined up with the vocal below it. So I'm going to uncheck that so that I'm not moving any other tracks when I delete something. I'm going to click OK. And then let's come back up and make sure that we've got this section of track selected. And I'm simply going to push the delete button. And it didn't move anything down below there. So that's good. That's exactly what we wanted. And now let's come back to our existing audio here, and let's zoom in again because I think we've got a little bit of cleanup to do right there. And we do. You can see that right here at the end. I'm assuming you can see it. There's a little spike of audio. So I didn't cut it right where it needed to be cut, but let's move it right there. Let's play through this end piece here. That's good. Normally I would put a little bit longer tail on there and maybe let the music play real low while I come in to speak and start speaking, but today we're not going to do that. So let's take our bottom audio here and let's make it to where it just overlaps slightly. And then let's press the play button again and let's listen through it. Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, that cut off pretty quick, but that's okay because this is just practice. I moved it over a little bit more. Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad you're here. That's a little bit smoother. I like that. I like smooth. Now, the next thing that I would do, let's fit this project in here. The next thing that I would do before I synchronize tracks is I would clean up any content that needed to be cleaned up, like I just said like weird noises, strange anomalies that get into our audio. I would listen through this audio and I would clean that stuff up. But I'm pretty sure there's none of that here, but let's give it a listen. I'm glad you're here. Again, this is a podcast about nothing. There's nothing going on here. I'm sitting in this boring room with lights shining in my face and a camera pointed at me. And I'm just recording some audio so that I can get something laid down here so that we can make a fake podcast and do a little bit of editing on it and see what we can do with it. So that's about all I have to say. All right, now here's an outro. All right, so we did have to do a little bit of cleanup here. We can say, or we can see here that I said, here's an outro. We don't want that in there. So let's come and trim this audio back and let's make sure that we have got it the way we want it and see what we can do with it. So that's about all I have to say. All right, that's all I have to say. I mean, that's it. There's no more to say. Now I'm going to fit it back into our screen so we can see the whole thing. And now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use sync lock tracks. I want my tracks synced together. I want the music and the duck down music where the speaker's coming in, speaker being me. I want that synchronized. I don't want to lose that synchronization. That's important to me that I not lose it. So let's come up to the tracks drop-down menu. And this bottom option here says keep tracks synchronized, sync lock. This is sync lock tracks. I'm going to click it once. And when I clicked it, you'll see that down in the corner of the track header, I have a little clock. Also, you can see that if I select through part of a track, that there's a bunch of clocks. That means that these two tracks are now synchronized together. So if I come back over here to the end and I grab this top track with the music and I move it, it's going to move the audio with it or the speaker with it at the same time. I'm going to overlap it just a little bit right there. And let's bring it back over. Now, because I've overlapped this audio with this audio, and this audio is overlapped with this audio, if I move any one of these sections, it's going to move the entire project. My tracks are synced together, and that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted my tracks to be synced together. And so that's what I've done. I've synced them together. So now if I back up here to the beginning, excuse me, and we won't play through this entire thing, just a little bit of it. And let's just look at our transitions here. I'll put the cursor right about here. Let's play through this first auto duck, and then we'll forward and play through this transition, and then we'll play through this transition and through to the end of the podcast. So let's play this. Welcome to the Fake Podcast. This is the podcast about nothing, and I'm glad you're here. That sounds good. Now let's put the cursor here toward the end of this fade out and play it. Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad you're here. That sounds good. I am glad you're here. I'd feel silly if I was doing this by myself. Now let's put the cursor right here and let's play again. So that's about all I have to say. Hey, thanks for joining me on this. So that sounds pretty good. Again, let's put the cursor here and do one last playthrough. Take care. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, for a podcast about nothing and a fake podcast, not too shabby. In the next video, let's take that bottom audio and let's make it a little bit louder. Let's increase the volume in that bottom track so that the music isn't quite so overpowering. And then once we do that, let's mix this down into a new track and let's apply some leveling to it. All of these effects are included in Audacity. Everything that we're doing is included in Audacity. So I will see you in the next video.